Hey, it's Neil. It's April 16th, 2024, and we're not done with cores. There are some new options in the Surfey API with regards to redirects that are there to better support fetch in web-based clients. And so that will include the Flutter app. So the bug that we're working on is number 66. So if you try to do a get on something, it's going to fail. And so I have a nice little example here. I'm on my personal domain, so this is going to be a CORS request, and you'll see that that fails. The problem is this returns a correct redirect to the location, which is a signed URL that we want to go to. However, once we redirect to that signed URL, we'll go down here to the request headers. You'll see that origin is null rather than my domain, and that just has to do with how CORS is, and I'm a little unclear why. I'm sure there's a very good reason for it, but you can see if you take the URL that came back. So let's actually just copy this URL, and you await on that, and we don't need credentials in this case. That succeeds. Fun stuff. However, there's no way to do a fetch and say I want to manually handle the redirect. So go ahead and respond with the location header, and then I can take that and then make a separate fetch, which would then retain my origin. And so you can see that here. If we go down to, this is what we wanted to see, the redirect doesn't preserve that. So that's the problem that we're trying to work through here. I can do another example that would be a little bit easier to determine. Let's go ahead and try to get like speech.txt. So this is an audio file. So if we wanted to get this audio file, you'll see the URL is, that is not correct. That needs to be fixed. This should be go.surfey.me. So that's a problem in MVP, and I'll fix later. So I want to fetch this, right? So I go await, fetch, URL, credentials include. That's exactly what I want. And that fails. Same reason. What I've done is I've added an option, a query parameter called redirect, that allows you to tell the Go server how you want to handle this. So by default, its redirect is auto, and so that continues to do what we've been doing, and you can try that out just by going to the URL. Let's bring up network tools. That worked, right? So redirect happened, but since this is not a CORS request, it's cross origin but initiated by the user, so it doesn't have to obey any of those rules. This is the same thing that would happen if you were doing a curl or a native HTTP request. The redirect can happen and you can get the content. The browser is a lot more constrained. So now there's another option where we can say redirect is never. And in that case, this will respond with the payload always. And the response headers should be set based on what's in the content on the cloud server. So cloud storage, sorry, it's been a long day. You'll get content length, content type, and e-tag, which then the browser can use to determine whether it can cache it or not. So some of those things have been implemented by the API. The Google Cloud Storage is much better at doing all of this, but we do implement those in the API. And if you know that you always want to redirect, let's look at this URL again. Then you can say redirect is always, and this is the same as a little bit the same as auto. So what's the difference between always and auto? If you do a head request and you have it set to auto, then it won't do a redirect, because I can just pull the headers and give them back to you. If you do a get request and you have it set to auto, then it will do a redirect. And that's just how it works right now. It doesn't have anything to do with the payload size, and we'll see why in a minute. And then the last fancy thing that I've added is redirect is manual. So there's redirect auto, which is the default, and redirect auto has to do with the kinds of headers you're going to get, right? So if we set is it method is head, right? A head doesn't require any content, so I don't need to redirect you. And then the last one we have is redirect is manual. And manual is the same as an always redirect. However, what it actually does is it returns the text of the signed URL in the body of the request. So then we can say text equals await our text, and that will be the signed URL that then you can go fetch. So then r equals await fetch text, and now we've got the actual content. So content equals r await our text content. So now you can set redirect to manual and then handle it on your own. There's also something to note with when we're not redirecting. So redirect never, I support range requests now. And this actually took a while to implement, but it could be for whatever reason that you want to, let's say we want to view this, and I'm going to have to modify the URL again. I want to view this and I'm not going to redirect. Whoa, that's my bad. Okay, so something messed up there. I can run it through my test server so you can see what I mean. Oops, not false. Did I fix that? No, I didn't. So what I'm going to do is just look at this raw file.
Hey, it's Neil, it's April.
And something that you'll notice is because I'm handling, of course I'm not handling it. Redirect is never.
Hey, it's Neil, it's April 4th, and
so something to note, this came back with a 206, and you'll notice it only came back with 2.9 megabytes, and that is because we're doing range requests, and this will support jumping through the file, seeking as it were.
And our range be floor.
Whereas if I just dump the content out, the seeking doesn't work, and the browser won't actually pull all the content. You'll notice it stops after a little bit here. So by supporting the range headers and just partial content, now if you do redirect as never, it's okay. It passes through the API Go server and also allows you to skip around. So when you're testing, if you're running into coarse problems with redirects, it's perfectly acceptable to set redirect as never. But at some point, we'll want to look at redirecting to Google Cloud Storage for video components which don't require cores, just so that Google Cloud Storage handles all the logic there, and probably they'll be a lot faster to do it than we will. All right, so that's that. This is just to recap, we have a new redirect option on the API that you can use on assets, and that can be set to always, never, auto, or manual. And remember, manual changes the content type to plain text, and then the body of the HTTP response is the signed URL. That's that. Enjoy.